The coastline and coastal areas of Wales are extremely important to the people, communities, economy and environment. Approximately 60% of the population of Wales live on or near to the coast. It is important to remember that human interactions on the coast are often in conflict with natural coastal evolution, which can increase problems. It is estimated that 42,000 properties are currently at high risk of coastal flooding, and a further 400 from coastal erosion. These numbers are expected to increase due to climate change. Because it is so beautiful, it is easy to forget that coastal areas are changing all the time. They'll become more vulnerable to climate change as increases in temperature will cause seawaters to expand and glaciers to melt at a faster rate, creating sea level rise. This, along with more intense and frequent storms causing coastal surge, will make living on the coast a lot more difficult. Climate change and rising sea levels are likely to have a severe impact on the Welsh coast. The total rise in sea levels off the UK coast may exceed 1 metre at some point in the future, possibly within the lifetimes of children alive today. Climate change is not a thing of the future which we can park up and deal with another time. It's already happening, and we are seeing the effects of climate change and sea level rise.
My name is Emlyn Jones. I work for Cyngor Gwynedd. I'm chair of the West of Wales Coastal Group, and I also sit on the consortium which runs the Welsh Coastal Monitoring Centre. Traditionally, we have applied engineering solutions to mitigate against coastal risks, but climate change will make this traditional approach challenging and could result in reducing the effectiveness of many historic defences. Although our coast is of great value, we cannot, nor should we, try to protect it all. Many areas are designated for their environmental value, and letting nature take its course is the best option. Where coastal infrastructure or communities are present, we still try to safeguard them by building resilience. In many cases, this is done through the creation and upgrading of coastal defences, with millions of pounds invested every year by councils and the Welsh Government. It is also important for the public to be aware that building higher defences can actually increase the risk to communities in case of asset failure. Our management options must therefore be sustainable, and when we look at building resilience, decisions must ensure that options are and will remain economically viable, socially desirable and environmentally sustainable. Our coast needs to be managed in a way which considers its present needs, but also its long-term sustainability in the face of climate change, risks and sea level rise.
Communities feel that government and local government should be stepping in and paying for all the coastal defences, but the reality is that they cannot. Public sector organisations and professionals are working together to look at alternative ways to mitigate against coastal risks and protect infrastructure where investment in new or higher defences would be unsustainable and too expensive. This alternative approach, known as adaptation, is about making changes in the way we do things. It is about trying to work with natural processes rather than against them, to manage the increasing risks to coastal areas. Adaptation focuses on managing change, to minimise negative consequences, but also has the potential to provide new opportunities. But we need to be honest. Adaptation is a new concept for everyone, and it is very difficult to change what we have done for hundreds of years. Policies and funding for adaptation are not in place yet, and identifying what the options are for each specific location a lengthy process. Too often the term is linked with people being asked to leave their properties because they can't be protected. While it will be the case in the most extreme circumstances, we can deliver adaptation through a range of activities, from better land management, natural flood risk management and other methods. Adaptation is also about not exposing more people to risk, and councils and Welsh Government have a lead role to play in developing strong adaptation plans and updating policies to include adaptation at the heart of decision making, for example through turning away new developments from high-risk zones or embedding shoreline management plans within planning policies. Ultimately, adaptation must ensure people and communities are at the heart of decision making, and they must be informed of what it means and how they can get involved.